And we're back.
Part 3. I think there's another thing that... see, I'm all nitpicky in these now, because I've watched them like 5 or 6 times now. I am kind of sad that the individual parts, some of them ended up being so short, like only 12 minutes long.
If you quick to interject there, if you look at the chair, see on the lower right there, there's kind of mud. That's because we had it off on the trail, and the ground was so soft that when you sat into it, it would sink that deep. So we actually had that chair out because there was a log and a chair that we sat on, and both Holly and I were really tired near the end of it.
I wonder if the purple haze that's on everything, purple haze,
It's all in my brain.
Was deliberate or not. Because sometimes the lighting just ends up hitting like that.
Well, later, you can tell this is later in the afternoon because it is cloudier and there isn't as much sunlight, or direct sunlight kind of on the path there. This was near the later part of the day when everybody was getting really tired.
Well, it just makes me wonder, because the purple effect, it does give the impression that we have moved on into a completely different area of the woods.
That's true.
So it just makes me wonder, was this deliberate, or was it just luck of the draw that it happened to look like that when we filmed?
Mm-hmm.
The shots of the woods, ominously. And yet, we weren't actually the ones being followed by Malachite. We were suggesting that Malachite's the one that's following us, but he's following Team 2 because they have the original map.
Yep.
We need a musical number!
That was Doug's copy of the script.
Yep.
Which he literally had on every single page, each shot that he wanted to have in just like a little square with a little drawing and little stage directions written on it. He just annotated the hell out of his script.
Oh yeah, that's what he does. He does that. He's done that for the last 2 years as well. Even during the Brawl, which was only a 20-page script, he had every single bit framed out along the sides of it. Now, if this was a professional movie company doing this, what would happen would be they would have a storyboarder, and they'd have 2 things, one actually with the storyboards for how it would look, and one with the script, and they just have them side by side with each other. They wouldn't have the
Package.
Oh God.
Yeah, we all got a good shot of that.
Be sure to linger on it.
Well, I forgot to mention as well, this is, the Team 1's first day of filming, and we all left at 6 in the morning, and the park was not scheduled to open until 7 or 8.
And
so,
yeah, that was a whoa.
And I think also, too, that one of the reasons we were out here is because, it was quiet and we could not,
there weren't
be
a lot
left
of cars
alone.
in the background.
Yeah, and we really didn't have another place to go, so that's when we went to Dunkin' Donuts. But driving out here when it finally did open, Bargo, again, he was driving his car with several people, and Holly wanted to turn right into the lane to get behind him or in front of him, and he just kept adjusting his speed so that we couldn't until finally, the turn was right there, and we had to cut in front of another person to get over there. In front of a cop car. Literally, there was a cop car right next to us. And again, this scene was almost cut. But, yeah, just Bargo. Ugh.
We love you, Bargo.
And again, I think, too, that phrase right there, I think, is Lupa's best line. She gets
You'll be a lady and like it!
You're gonna be a lady and like it! Gosh, she just nails it with a certain level of crazy in it. But yeah, this is near the end of the day with that line with, with Phalis. We almost didn't shoot that because everybody was getting really tired. It was around 5 or 6 o'clock.
And we needed to go over to
the other house.
The other house, yeah, to film all the indoor shots for Jaffer's house.
One of the things that Holly and I actually were kind of whispering to people is don't tell Doug what time it is. Because if you tell him what time it is, he's going to cut out all these scenes. Mm-hmm. So we were all very, very tricksy about going as far as, as long as we could to get everything. We got most of everything.
Yep. I think there was a concern that, the park might close at 4 or something like that, or at sundown.
I think it was sundown. We did still have some time, but bear in mind, nobody really had that much to eat. So near the end of the day, everybody was really hungry and tired.
Yeah, I think I skipped out on dinner with you guys that night because I was exhausted in my own way.
Right.
And I just really did not feel like going out to a loud restaurant and doing all that. I had a headache. I wanted to go to Wendy's, get something to eat, and just relax in my hotel room.
Yeah, I think we went out and got Chicago-style pizza that night. But I believe we were actually eating at about 9 o'clock at night. Just because the house scenes, near the end of the day, the house just seemed like it dragged on and on and on. And that was nobody's fault. It was just we were all so tired.
And then we spent all day outside, and we're a bunch of nerds who are out of shape.
Yeah, that was a good part of it as well. But I think for next year, if we were out on set like this, it would have been nice to have like a large like meat and cheese tray or something, just so that people have something to munch on.
This bit, we did like 3 or 4 takes of this, and I do wonder if this is being filmed from a weirder angle, because I don't remember walking like that. I remember being on the other side. See, when he was filming that.
If I was in Mickey's place, I would have not had that joke, because now people are gonna go, "Oh, you're a goat fucker." But
hey, Brad just did that night that thing. Sorry, Mickey.
But Mickey is a good enough guy, and he laughs about it, so he probably just goes right off.
Well, that's because in every other video we have Mickey as this interdimensional imp who has magical pollution powers.
Mm-hmm.
And of course the bum scene. Once again, the cameos were really well integrated here, as opposed to just having them. Oh, just need my cameo.
That's a later shot. You can tell everything's a lot greener. But anyway.
But yeah, it works a lot better. They're integrated a lot more, because you would have a bum in the middle of the woods, and ask that guy, you don't quite expect him to be at his basement, but hey, you get to see his bar, and that's where he films.
Yep.
And of course, the bum is off separately, because of course he wasn't there with us. We didn't have time to film the bum sequences on his own. We didn't really need to either.
Ask your questions.
There are plenty of shots that can be done on your own, and if it saves time for filming, go right ahead with it. Do you have any money? I do love the parodies here of all the fantasy tropes.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, it's not like specifically Lord of the Rings. It's not specifically Willow. It's the kind of things you would just see in a fantasy movie, like a deep booming voice which commands you. You expect to see obstacles, but you don't on a quest. You just don't expect. I mean, if we were doing a specific parody of one or two fantasy movies, I think that would hurt it. That would make it more like a Friedberg and Seltzer movie. You shall not pass! I wonder, how did they do the hat thing with this one?
I honestly don't know how they did that, but it was really well done.
Bounce!
Cock blocked.
Besides, you're a lousy shot.
Yeah, and I think that stream was actually, it burst its banks, because you can see all sorts of puddles on the side of the road there. But running across the field here, it was actually...
Where they filmed that? Because it wasn't the same field where we did the last shot.
No, this is where the... It's kind of a large... It's surrounded by apartment buildings, and in the middle, that's where the playground is. But all across that field, it was so soggy that every single step we were taking was going squish, 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 and it was also covered in goose poop. Because there were Canadian geese all over the place, or Canada goose, or whatever you want to call them. But they were all standing on like the apartment buildings, and we occasionally had to stop filming because they were just kept honking and honking. And... Yeah, I think next time maybe we'll have a little bit better fight choreography, because it's pretty basic, but I think it works well. It just shows that we're all a bunch of nerds that can't do anything.
What I think helps is I think it helps if this is viewed in movie form, because one of the things that people complained about was the pacing and everything else. But I think if you view it in movie form, it moves a lot faster. Plus, it makes sense why the cloaks are not better fighters, because it turns out they're just Jaffer's friends.
Right.
They're not. They don't know what the hell they're doing. I mean, Brad right here is the most advanced fighting ever. Just like, tackling a guy with his feet.
I originally tried to get up there. That's me, up on that swing. But the problem being is I had my face covered up, and so I just like slid backwards and almost fell off the swing. So they just had me, go on the ground and do it.
That would have been a good bit, though. You two on the swings trying to fight, and the alternating quotes. That's great. Give in to our rage. Rage shall not avail you. And everyone used to help me exploded into
Yeah,
laughter.
everybody just cracked up with the first take. I'm actually standing up on the wobbliest part of the bridge. A few times I almost lost my footing there, but in hell! Dong! And he could only do it a few times because the sword was breaking, but...
and the last Angry Geek is just like, dude, what?
Oh, God. You know, so when I'm fighting there, too, I'm trying to, instead of just going side to side, several times I just put the sword in one hand and try to go, like, you know, sword fighting.
When we get to the final battle, I wanted to do some actual fight choreography, like saying, okay, I'm gonna go high, then you swing down low, I'll block, but it just doesn't work out quite right because it's going so fast and
Right,
whatnot.
it's very chaotic, and that's kind of what we were going for, so... I think, too, when Luke Mockery went down that slide, we were the first persons to get there, and so it was still kind of wet, and he got a bunch of junk on his cloak
Harry
there.
Potter.
Okay, so when we were on this slide, Kaylin, the skirt she had was actually starting to rip in the back, so it kept getting higher and higher, and so she was safety pinning it. But as you can imagine, you know, it kind of crept up on her, so several times I had to go over there and just very discreetly adjust her skirt so it didn't show, you know, didn't show too much. But
Pull a nostalgia link.
yeah, and I was like, sorry, Kaylin, just hold on.
This is very Robin Hood Men in Tights right
Yeah.
here. But what sells it is how he suddenly turns around and
He falls over, too. I like that.
That's what makes it original.
Yeah, see, I'm trying to jab at him a little bit and kind of bring it up a little.
These were just friends of Doug's.
Yep, these were friends, and I think that was actually her daughter.
For the fate of mankind,
We're fighting for the fate. You know what would have been funnier
What's that?
if we had her and like a few other kids. You guys are still doing the epic battle, but the kids are just playing. Yeah.
I think there was a shot or two that we had. They had these like little digging machines, which is I think Film Brain, he mentions, the other one had sandcastles. I think one of the shots we wanted to do is have a cloak on one of them and then like have
Someone else.
Film Brain on the other one and just kind of like mock fighting with these two shovel things. But we didn't do it.
That would have been good.
This was not filmed on the same day. That was another day.
It works though. Because of course we don't actually see them ever going onto the little playground.
Yep, and this one was actually filmed less than a block from where they live, so...
Yep, and Jim is now wearing different pants.
Yep.
They have the khakis now as opposed to the black ones he was wearing in part 2.
And originally, too, I was going to come in with a line here, "You're off the bowling team," but they cut that out.
Might end up on the DVD.
It might, yeah.
onward to adventure!
Little too assuming. And there's again, a great shot. Just kind of pan down and there's the map. I think that might have been actually Ed Glazer who did that. And I think that's where we end.
We'll continue in part 4.